I didn't make this video earlier because I honestly still don't know what to say. This has been a topic that a lot of people have been asking me to talk about. What should the Canucks do with their cap space? Because the Sedins, they came off the books, $14 million free for Vancouver Canucks cap, and everybody over here in Vancouver Canuck land is sitting thinking about what should we do with all this cap space we got. If we take a look at our cap last season, we had $500,000 in cap space, which is terrible. But now, all of these guys are coming off the books. The Sedins, $14 million in cap. Sven Baertschi, $1.85 million in cap. Jussi Jokinen was a 1.1. Then we go down, Jake Virtanen is coming off of his entry-level deal. Darren Archibald is an unrestricted free agent, and Nick Dowd is also one as well. Moving on to defense, Troy Stecher and Derek Pouliot are both RFAs in need of contracts. So if we take a look at everything we got, we're gonna have to take some of these guys and keep them. A lot of these guys are gonna get raises. I don't know if Baertschi's gonna settle for less than $2 million. I don't know if Troy Stecher is gonna settle for $925,000. And at the same time, we got $14 million of free cap space in the Sedin Twins if we sign guys like Baertschi, Jussi Jokinen, let's be real here, they said they wanted to keep him, so they probably will. Baertschi, Jokinen, Virtanen, Archibald, Stecher, and Pouliot. The only one I didn't mention was Nick Dowd, because I don't really know if he's coming back to the Vancouver Canucks. If we re-sign these guys, let's average it out. Let's take a look at where we think these guys are going to sign for, and how much potential cap space we're going to have. Sven Baertschi, he could probably get like $3 million. That's what I could realistically see him getting. Jim Benning will probably... Let's face it, Jim Benning's probably going to give him 4.5, but for the safe assumption, let's just go with $3 million for Sven Baertschi. Jussi Jokinen will keep him at 1.1, maybe a 1.2, so we're up to $4,200,000 right now. Jake Virtanen, making just under $900,000 this season, will probably get a raise, maybe up to the same level as Baertschi did, maybe a little bit less, let's say $1.5 million for him. We're at $5.7 total million. And then we got Darren Archibald, he'll probably ask for $1 million. I'm good with that for him, honestly. I think he deserves it, absolutely. And then Troy Stecher and Derek Pouliot, both guys making just under $1 million because they're on RFA deals. They could easily both be getting $1.75 million, maybe $2 million. Maybe if it's Jim Benning, he'll probably get like $2.5 or $3 million. Let's assume 3, because Jim Benning. So in total, with the Sedin's contracts coming up and a few $1 million that we're giving to some of these guys who need contracts, with all of these guys getting raises, we're up to about more or less $8 million of cap space, $8.59 million if you want to be generous. So, what should the Canucks do with this cap space? And in my opinion, please, nothing. I don't want to do anything. I'm fine with the team the way it is. I don't want Bozak, I don't want Tavares, I don't want Erik Karlsson. Let's just keep the team the way that it is, please. Trevor Linden talked about how the Vancouver Canucks have plans to stay in a position where they got a lot of cap space. And I like the sound of that, because we're not in the position to win right now. I want to give these younger guys opportunities to succeed at the NHL level. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I'm good with signing guys, but I want more Vanek deals. Guys where we signed a 1-2 year contract so we can flip at the deadline for more picks and more prospects. Because we've already got a good amount of NHL caliber talent on our team. Louis Eriksson, okay, you could argue about that. Guys like Bo Horvat, Marcus Granlund, and Brendan Sutter have already established themselves as NHL players. Same thing with Brock Besser. The only thing I don't want is long-term deals like Louis Eriksson. I don't want to grab any of these guys who are aging and who are wanting long-term deals and keeping them on the Vancouver Canucks with long-term deals. If JVR comes over, signs a 6-year contract, I'm gonna be pissed off. Because, sure, JVR got 40 goals last season and he was really good, but to me, it's not the best move for the direction of the team. Sure, okay, you could totally make the argument that makes sense that, okay, why do you not want to sign good players? If a player is good, the Canucks need to get him. Okay, that's absolutely true. But at the same time, I want to see our prospects succeed. I don't want to rush any of the Canucks' success. We've seen that way too much in the past. We saw the overachieving Vancouver Canucks in 2015 go 6 games with the Calgary Flames and lose in the playoffs. We saw that happen. We also saw the Vancouver Canucks trying to maintain an attitude about them that says we can still win. And they tried to make moves, they tried to make signings that consisted with the idea that they can win. But it didn't really work. And I don't want to rush that any further. I want to maintain our prospects, maintain the younger guys, build this team off of the backs of guys like Horvat, Besser, and Pettersson. I don't want to bring in other stars, because these guys, by the time Horvat and Besser in their primes, the stars that we bring in today are going to be older, and it's not going to work out as well as we think it would. And the overarching idea of getting Tavares, signing him to a really big, long-term deal, and by the time Boho and Brock Besser are in their primes, Tavares is already aging and on his last few years of his deal, and the time comes where we need to sign Brock Besser to his mega deal, and Tavares is the one who's leading up our cap along with Louis Eriksson. I don't want that to happen. And additionally, let's just establish right here, the Canucks, no, we're not getting Tavares. We're not getting Karlsson, we're not getting Doughty, we're not getting Evander Kane. We're not getting any of these guys. None of these guys have any reason why they would want to sign in Vancouver. You might say, oh, but Evander Kane's pretty young, and he would see that the Vancouver Canucks are pretty young too. He could probably develop alongside of these guys. Evander Kane is turning 27 years old, and if he signs with the Vancouver Canucks, that would contradict literally everything Jim Benning has said about winning a good, cultured environment. Because Evander Kane and his attitude would not be aligned with what the Vancouver Canucks want. Drew Doughty? No. He's not going to be a Canuck. Erik Karlsson? No. The Canucks don't have a chance at Erik Karlsson. John Tavares? No. He wouldn't sign with us. He has no reason to want to come and sign with the Vancouver Canucks. If he wanted to sign with a team that wasn't winning and not in the playoff spot, he would just stay in New York. That's the way it goes. So, overall, if you take a look at all the free agent signings that the Vancouver Canucks could get, all these Toronto Maple Leafs coming off the books, Sharks and Islanders and Senators and all that, I don't want any of them. Unless they're short, Vanek-like deals where we can flip them at the deadline, I'm staying away from that. You know what I do want to do with our cap space, though? Let's sign some random guys from Europe. That actually sounds really great, because Elliot Friedman's 31 Thoughts a while ago talked about Swedish free agents like Pilut and Lindholm and all these guys, Linkvist, and it looks like the Vancouver Canucks are really close to signing Par Lindholm. That would be really cool, right? My prime idea for the Vancouver Canucks would be to hold on to our cap space, because this is valuable. And at the moment, we're in a position where it really is our choice as to where we want to go with this. Well, it's not our choice, it's Jim Benning's choice, but at the same time, I think saving the cap space is the best move. I see no reason to go out there and grab guys, overpay for guys that we don't necessarily need. And sure, you could make the argument, yeah, but having a JVR or a Bozak alongside of a Brock Besser or a Pettersson or a Dahlin, they'd help these guys develop into better NHL players. And that's fair. That's very fair. Absolutely true. But a lot of these guys coming off the books want long-term deals. We see it happen with guys all the time. They get really good career years, they're in their 30s, approaching their 30s, and they want long-term deals. Louis Eriksson is a prime example of this. I don't want any contracts that last more than 2 or 3 years. Because if we get Gagne deals, okay, that's fine. If we get Vanek deals, okay, that's great. We can trade Vanek deals. We honestly could have even traded Gagne, but we just didn't. These deals are easy to move, and these deals are the kinds of deals that I would be okay with getting. But any long-term deals, signing a guy like JVR or Bozak, I don't want that. Evander Kane, no, I don't want to sign these guys long-term, because it conflicts with the entire makeup that the team wanted to build itself off of going forward. We need to give our space to the younger guys. If we get JVR in a transition kind of period, so he could play alongside a guy like Elias Pettersson, help him develop, that would be great. But I don't want JVR here for 6 or 7 years. That's not going to work. And you know that if we sign any of these guys long-term, they're going to get big, hefty contracts like Louis Eriksson. So in that, it's just such a scary thing to see Jim Benning having this much freedom with cap space, But at the same time, as I said earlier, I don't think these guys have any incentive to sign with Vancouver other than the offer of lots of money, which I really hope we don't give up, because this Sedin's $14 million coming off of the books, it's valuable to us, guys. It's very valuable. So what should the Canucks do with their cap space? Hopefully nothing. I just don't want to sign any long-term deals. I'm good with signing younger European free agents. I'm good with that. I'm good with signing short-term deals. Just no experienced NHL veterans who would want way too much money in a long term. I don't want that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're plus, thanks for gaming, and bye.